years old and he's in the living room playing with his toys. When all of a sudden his parents walk in, screaming and yelling at each other, and become physically abusive. How does this make him feel? Well, Timmy is very scared. He's feeling some guilt because there's nothing he can do to stop them from fighting. Millions of children are going through the same thing Timmy is facing. And it's affecting our society because there's nothing being done. There's nothing being done to properly help them stop. My name is Ayamba. This is Alex, Kelsey, Jaime, and Kaitlin. And this is domestic violence among children.
Okay, so there are 765 cases of violence reported in 1 year that involve children in Evansville alone. So this doesn't even amount to the number that is reported statewide or nationwide, or the number that isn't reported. So our problem is that children are not receiving any follow-up after being removed from a violent environment, resulting in mental and emotional effects on the child and the cycle of violence being continued. So when a child witnesses violence, they feel many things like fear, shame, guilt, and anxiety. And these same feelings are also very prominent feelings in what causes one to be violent. So if the same feelings are a result of witnessing violence also cause someone to be violent, you can see where an endless cycle is created. The AFBC, which is a domestic violence shelter for children, stated that 83% of children who come through their door already show violent behaviors, and they do not see anyone over the age of 12. So these are already really young children who show these behaviors, and they also receive no follow-up after they leave their shelter. So it doesn't matter how long they're there, once they leave, they're gone, and the shelter does not follow up with them. So their psychiatric effects that are caused from witnessing violence are not being catered to. So our solution is the Vision for Children. It would be an 8-week program that these children would be required to go through, enforced by law enforcement or the law. It's not a one-size-fits-all approach, so it would cater to each child's specific needs. And currently there is no follow-up required. The state of Massachusetts does have a similar program in place where they follow up with people who are witnessing violence, and over 50% of people who showed violence at the beginning of this program no longer did at the end, so that proves this to be an effective approach.
Okay, so to give you an idea of like a sample session of how this would work would be like, let's say we have a 6-year-old child who has physically violent parents, and we became aware of it. So they would enter our program and they would be involved with one of our psychiatrists or therapists, and they could either do like face-to-face interaction, like a normal talking session, but it's hard to evaluate a child in that way, so they could do like interactive games or take them out to eat just to kind of make them feel more comfortable, and then they would be able to evaluate them better. They would be able to evaluate their emotions, on how they react to different things, and based on that evaluation, they would then be able to come up with a solution and a plan on how to change this child's effects from their physically violent parents.
Okay, so going along with what Kelsey was talking about, our service is a requirement, and I think this really differentiates us from a CPS or a DCS, and we'd like to see this become a law. The value that we're really adding is that we're making each child feel wanted and really attending to their emotional needs or whatever it may be. And we'd really like to try to begin repairing the relationship with the abuser as well, and break that cycle of violence where children believe that later on in life that violence is an effective way to solve their problems or issues. So the Department of Child Services has a multiple response system, which is a program that really focuses on reconciling the abuser with the spouse, but doesn't really have much of a focus on the child. So that's where we want to come in and work alongside of them, and like I said before, just attend to that child's needs. So a grid just showing how we differentiate ourselves. So Vision for Children, Department of Child Services, and CPS, all of us require a visit after the complaint, and we all focus on a family as a whole. But where we're really separating ourselves is, like I said before, just attending to that child's needs. And this isn't a one-time thing as well. We want to continuously follow up with each child to really repair the brokenness. So our value proposition, for children who are exposed to violence in their household and receive no help or follow-up, Vision for Children is an organization which reaches out to the children following an abusive scenario. And unlike the other services, we follow up continually with the children to prevent the future abusive behaviors and to break that cycle of violence. And we really care about these children and the families, and this is a requirement.
So just walking through the business model canvas, kind of starting with our value proposition, as Alex just got done mentioning, our value stems from the follow-up that will be required with these children to try to prevent that abusive behavior from following and kind of breaking that cycle through engaging in impactful sessions. So it could be one child in the household or multiple children, but we would engage them in certain ways to kind of break that cycle and change their ways. Going over to our key partners, we'd work alongside with DCS, government agencies, and our donators to try to implement our project here. Key activities that we'd be doing would be the creation of these different sessions. Like Jaime mentioned, it's not a one-size-fits-all approach, so we'd have to create these different sessions based on the children to cater to their own specific needs. And also our key activities would be with the employees and our psychiatrists that we'd be hiring to work with these kids. Key resources would be our partnerships, professionals, unique sessions, and our actual location of the building where these sessions would take place. Going over to our customer relationships, like we've said before, these are personalized relationships, and it's very specific to the individual. And our customer channels, we'd reach people through our website, DCS, and social media. So through our website and social media, we'd kind of gain awareness within the community, and then we'd work alongside DCS and kind of get through the people that go through them could also come through us afterwards for the follow-up. Target segments, again, are children or families that have been involved in domestic violence. And then our cost structure, we'd need time to present the law in the bill and make this an actual legal action that you have to come through our follow-up. Also employees, and then rent for our building. Revenue streams would be government grants, donations, and taxes, which I'm about to reiterate in our cost structure. So 6 to 12 months cost startup, sorry. Psychiatrists and social work, we decided that we would basically have 2 per district, and they kind of travel along the district to try to work with these children, and we estimated that would be about $150,000 between the 2 people for their salaries. Website development is obviously a one-time cost of $5,000. Rent and building expenses, $25,000, just an estimated rent that would have to go on throughout the years, obviously. And just business development would be also a one-time cost of $10,000. And our legal formation, which would be, we'd obviously have to get certain costs set up to get the bill presented, and then there might be a continuous follow-up to keep the bill intact. And that's a total cost of $200,000. And then going over to our first year revenue, similar to how CPS is funded, we would work with getting tax income. So we said about 10% of federal Indiana tax is around $90,000. So we're hoping to get tax grants, and then also the following 3 administrations that you see here, they are known for giving grants to domestic violence situations. So the National Institute of Mental Health Funding, we estimated that they would grant us around $75,000. Administration for Children and Families, they're also known for giving grants to domestic violence situations, would be about $30,000. And then the Center for Disease Control Prevention, they've done research grants for preventing violence and different ways that can go about preventing violence, and we estimated that we could get grants from them for around $80,000. So this is just kind of like a first year setup, which would be about a total revenue of $275,000. So just in conclusion, we're ready to implement this, and we have everything kind of in set of what we would do and how we would help these children. We're just here to kind of break the cycle and stop these different emotions from continuing on in the future. Thank you.